Hey, everybody, welcome to Poduty in the News for Monday, August 11th, 2025. I'm Jeff, your host. We've got podcast meetups, award shows, burnouts, music fest.
From Pittsburgh nights to Knoxville days, podcasters meet up in their own cool ways. Drivers, projects, racing at the Hall of Fame, while the smoking tires bring in Texas game. Your hustle stories hit the bird real deep, hope and dreams, the kind they'll always keep. Music fest is jamming with Reese on the stream, and Poduty Labs bringing the big pod dream. Jeff Revilla at the mic, bringing you the news. Poduty in the news, yeah, we like the fuse. Jeff Revilla at the mic, bringing you the news. Poduty in the news, yeah, we like the fuse. We like the fuse. We like the fuse.
All right, welcome to today's episode of Poduty in the News. It is Monday, August 11th. I've got 6 great stories. 2 of them are coming from our Pittsburgh Podcast Theater. About 20 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, we opened a small podcast theater to support local DIY creators. We've got 2 great events coming up. I'm going to slip them into the news this week. That's why we started this podcast, was to showcase stories from around the world where people are live podcasting, and also to show you what we're doing here outside of Pittsburgh. So head over to poduty.com, PODUTY.com, and check out our upcoming events. Our first story tonight, Slice, Sip, and Sync, Pittsburgh Podcasters Unite. Live from the Poduty Podcast Theater, over 20 creators came out for the Pittsburgh Podcast Meetup, and yes, there was pizza. It was a night of networking, sharing strategies, and swapping stories about mics, mistakes, and monetization. Whether you're a veteran podcaster or just planning your pilot, these monthly meetups are fueling Pittsburgh's podcasting scene, and this one had the buzz of a live green room before showtime. Big thanks to everyone who came out. The community is growing. We are just getting started. This was our biggest meetup yet. We are doing these monthly. Chances are there might be a meetup in your hometown. Check your local listings, check Eventbrite, check those sites and maybe like Facebook events and see if you have a podcast meetup. And if you don't, come out to Pittsburgh. Next one is September 6th. We'd love to have you. Pizza, drinks, networking. It's a great event, a great night out, and there's no charge. We're just trying to grow the community in the Pittsburgh area. So come out, get fed, and have some fun. Our second story tonight, Slideways and Soundwaves, comes to us from speedsport.com, live from Knoxville, Iowa, at the heart of dirt track racing. The Drivers Project podcast revved up for a special live recording during the 64th NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals. On August 6th at 1:30 p.m., fans packed the second floor of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum to hear the co-hosts of the Drivers Project podcast, Daryl and Todd, dive deep into the sprint car scene with racing stars Sam Heffertep Jr., J.J. Hickle, Carson McCarl. Surrounded by legends and vintage sprint cars and the roar of Nationals Week, this episode captured the grit, glory, and gear grinding culture of one of racing's most beloved corners. Whether you're a diehard fan or just along for the ride, this high-octane podcast was at its finest, and this is one of the things that I'm talking about. Your podcast has a community. There's people like you out there. In this case, these people are doing a racing podcast. Where did they go to do a live show? A racetrack. That's where your audience is going to be. Try doing your show live in front of similar people. Our third story tonight, burnouts and broadcasts, another car, back-to-back car stories. The Smoking Tire hits Dallas. This comes to us from the Smoking Tire podcast on YouTube. Get ready to downshift into podcast overdrive. The Smoking Tire podcast hit the road and pulled into Dallas, Texas for a special live taping of episode 1035. Hosts Matt Farah and Zach Clapman revved up the energy in front of a live audience, blending horsepower with humor, hot takes, and just enough exhaust fumes to keep the gearheads happy. It's car culture, comedy, and candid conversation, Texas style. Again, another way to take your podcast into the community and have these real in-person events, make connections with people in real life. Our fourth story, another Pittsburgh story, coming to us from the yard to the Roxy, and Ear Hustle goes live in Pittsburgh. This story comes to us from WESA FM in Pittsburgh. And the podcast From San Quentin to the Steel City, the award-winning Ear Hustle podcast is bringing real stories of life during and after incarceration to the stage. Live at the Roxy Theater on August 8th, co-hosts Nigel Poor and Earlone Woods are hitting the road for their second live tour, and this stop in Pittsburgh promises powerful stories full of humor, humanity, and hope. It's a rare look into prison life that skips cliches and dives deep into the dreams and imagination of those too often overlooked. And here's an example of taking your podcast on the road. And this is what we're trying to build at the Poduty Podcast Theater, is this middle ground between recording in your home studio and getting to a stage. Our theater holds 40 people. We can live stream to thousands, but we need places where people can go practice their podcast in front of a live audience and then take it on the road. And that's what we're trying to build. And you're seeing that here with Ear Hustle. They are already ahead of everybody. They are taking their podcast on the road, touring the country, and making stops right here in Pittsburgh. So I'm a little partial to it because I love supporting Pittsburgh podcasting. Our fifth story tonight, the Music Fest messenger, Philip Reese, brings the beat to our ears. Comes to us from WFMZ in Allentown, Pennsylvania. That's a good 60% of tonight's stories are in Pennsylvania. What are you doing about podcasting in your town? At Music Fest 2025, Philip Reese isn't just attending. He's orchestrating a daily live stream podcast from inside the Godfrey Daniels, capturing the festival's heartbeat. From deep dives with international acts like Italy-based Irish band Gadon to spotlighting local talent, Reese serves as the messenger of Music Fest, breaking down the sprawling lineup and the personal roadmap for fans. Now in his fourth year of covering the event, he's proving that a podcast can be just as much part of the festival as the music itself. And I was learning a little bit more about Philip. He takes a week off of vacation every year to do this podcast. This is a passion project for him, but he loves music. He loves this event. So he takes his podcast and live streams. He's meeting musicians. He's an integral part of this event now because he loves podcasting. People love this event. Those people also love music, and he loves music, and it's all tied together. Figure out how to get your podcast in front of audiences outside of the digital world. You can do this in real life, which brings me to our sixth story, another Poduty story. We just announced the battle for the mic at Poduty Live's Podcast Showdown. As you know, we've been doing Poduty Fest for a few years now. We piggyback on the back of International Podcast Day, which is September 30th. This is the weekend before, September 27th and 28th. We will transform into the ultimate arena for podcasting glory. Local and virtual podcasters will face off in a high-energy competition, performing live before judges and a cheering audience who will help decide the winners. With a free entry, global live streaming, and awards for everything from Best Live Podcaster to quirky surprise categories, this event is more than a showcase. It's a celebration of creativity, connection, and the Pittsburgh podcasting community. And I'm so excited to bring this event back to you again. It's about 45 days away. We will have 2 days of live stream podcasts from the Poduty Podcast Theater. Some will be on the stage, some will be virtual. And the ones who enter to be judged will be eligible for awards like Best New Podcast, Best Up and Coming, Most Potential, Biggest Heart. And we're going to have fun with this. We're going to make sure that people come in, they have a good time. There'll be judges, and the people watching will be a judge. So go over to Poduty.com, get your free tickets to come to the event. We will see you on September 27th and 28th. Poduty.com, Poduty.com. Let's hear that theme song.
From Pittsburgh